Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spinner Rack, and we also have
Calvin Ellis, ready to rock.
we have an interesting trailer, something that if you're a comic book or a toy fan from the 80s or maybe even the late 2000, the 2000 movies,
Which is just
there's
cool.
been a character that's always been cool, possibly inspired one of your favorite Merc with the Mouth, what's the name, Deadpool. We have Snake Eyes, finally the movie on its own. Of course, whoever the was it Paramount, they also said, hey, let's go with the X-Men thing, go to G.I. Joe Origins. Snake Eyes is Snake Eyes. It's always a great title. So even if you don't know who it is. But before we watch this, do you want to give any history on Snake Eyes, Cal?
Um, hmm. Well, an original character created for I believe this is the second line of G.I. Joe toys that debuted in concurrence with the G.I. Joe cartoon and the G.I. Joe comic book, who quickly became one of the most popular, if not the most popular character that they had produced. He had everything that you needed. He was the strong, silent type in an all black outfit. He never spoke. He was a ninja. His origin was shrouded in secrecy. Even after we got his origin, there was still a bunch of stuff that we didn't necessarily know. And he was this tragic figure as well. And he was getting the girls. So, there was everything to like about this character. And uh, that's not saying anything little, because GI Joe is a massive amount of characters. It's very easy to produce a character and the character just gets swallowed, by the maw of the beast that is GI Joe. There's well over 50 established Joes, and probably even more that I don't know about. There's just a bunch of them. But Snake Eyes resonated with readers and continues to resonate with readers, hence why he's the one getting a show. Now, you may have your favorite Joe, okay? Maybe Scarlet, maybe Stalker, maybe Shipwreck, and we could tell the ones that they like to write. If you watch the comic books, if you watch the television show, you know the ones who they like to write, because you saw those guys all the time. But
Yeah.
overall, Snake Eyes, that was everybody's favorite.
So that's a great intro. We're gonna start this trailer and let's let it rip. I'm going to stop right here. I recently, following all COVID regulations, saw a movie and saw this trailer in the movies. When this first came on, someone said, "Is that a Marvel trailer?" So on the level of action, we know we're going there. So let's keep it going.
Every warrior has a beginning. For 600 years, our ninja have brought peace to the world. I need warriors like you. Join us. What do I have to do? The journey from here is yours to decide. But that is just the beginning. I'm on a new level. I'm on a new level.
Now I want to go back to one shot here. Right here. Let's park it right here. Here's our hero. and we know, well, I don't want to spoil this for the people who don't know his history and whatnot, but this is where we're starting. We're starting with his origins, and he's already looking way cool. He's really looking cool. What do you think?
Uh, mm, yes, he looks cool, and he does look quite different than what he looks like in the comic book as well.
Yes, yeah, there's that too.
Very, very different.
Do you want to say when to point that out? Because there is some sort of talk about that.
I believe in the comic he was blonde and white.
Yes.
So yes, this is not quite the same guy from the comic. We I believe we understand why some of these changes were made because people have just decided, look, you guys on Twitter, we just don't want to be bothered with you, okay? We just don't want to be bothered with you. We're just trying to make some entertaining stuff and make some money and not have to defend ourselves to this rabid fan base that wants to see everything the way they want to see it. So we're going to just take it out of your hands before it gets out of hand.
But I mean, that's the thing with this character, you know, he goes through some things where that's why I also mentioned, well, that'd be spoiling too much. So we got this thing going. It looks exciting. It's an exciting trailer, everything a trailer is supposed to be. And I thought that at the same time we look at that, since we were just so excited about that, why not look at another trailer and do a little comparison, right? And we have, oh, where did this come from? We have Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings. So maybe we should watch, I think we should try to watch this and see how it measures up.
Well, if you insist, sure.
Now, wait a sec. Right there, what do we see? This is a bad shot for this guy. Not the best angle, but let's go on.
And they cut, make it look like he hit his hand and he hurt himself.
I gave you 10 years to live your life.
And the push up wrong.
And where did that get you?
Doing the karaoke, hanging out with Aquafina. Nah, see, that's the problem. Look at Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is over here riding cool cars, shooting people. This guy's over here doing push-ups wrong.
We barely got to see what was going on, and there was so much hyped up action. And then we get this dull stuff in your early official teasers.
Yeah, he's like over here hanging out, taking selfies, doing karaoke. Supposed to be the master of Kung Fu. What's going on?
Yeah, so let's keep it going.
You walked in my shadow.
This isn't good. This looks cool, but the movie's not featuring the kid.
That's the thing. That's almost what they should have started out with all those cool scenes and maybe less of the crazy rich Asian scenes.
Well, hey, at this point, we're seeing the kid. The kid's over here doing the lightning fast punches and, you know, throwing the guy around who's twice his size. And then we look at adult Shang-Chi and he's singing karaoke.
Yeah, that's a sad sort of thing where it's like when we're looking at the other trailer, we're like, who is this guy? Who is that guy? Who's the girl? And this one we're like, okay, we're trying to go to the drama when it's like we're teasing. I guess ultimately for Marvel, they're trying to show you stuff we've seen, so we're not worried because we're seeing.
Play this safe. They're trying to play this safe.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't want this to come across like a chopsocky flick. We don't want that criticism. So we're trying to show this is well-rounded and it looks boring so far. It doesn't look like a Shang-Chi movie. If you read the comic, okay, that's something that's some criticism that they have to take. I mean, hey, this could still be a knock on my. I still expect this movie to do very, very well, but this trailer right here is not something that's pulling me out of my seat to go run and see this film.
Trained you. For the most dangerous people in the world. Couldn't kill you. Son, it's time for you to take your place by my side.
Yeah, he doesn't look like Fu Manchu at all.
Now this scene right here really made no sense to me.
What, him touching the water?
Just saying, hey, here's some cool stuff. You're gonna see some Marvel effects in this thing. And just like, hey, I don't know.
It'd be cool if he had a gun and he was shooting at that stuff. That would be really cool, right? Like the Snake Eyes trailer. He just shooting stuff. That'd be great.
But I mean, they're really trying to, I don't know. They're trying to say this is another another thing. But we've had a couple shots in here that are like coming up at this point is giving you the tournament type of stuff.
They're trying to
Giving
bore
you
us to sleep.
hmm?
They're trying to bore us. And it's
Here,
working. Those are the 10 rings? Oh, wow, man, they really messed that up. Okay.
the 10 bracelets. But sorry, you were saying something?
Oh, no, there's nothing to say.
Now, I don't like him fighting in this cheesy jumper. Gotta have him in some cool stuff, not in the poor man's.
What, the Letterman jacket? That's not cool? You don't think that's cool? He's
Not
in the
cool.
Letterman. He's over here fighting in the Letterman jacket.
This, whatever this other thing is, character is, that's cool. What he's in is like, I can't.
Because they can't put him in the comic book stuff. He wore that gi forever. He wore that for a long time. But they're like, we don't want to do that because we don't want it to be stereotypical. We're not trying to do David Carradine's Gung Fu, just trying to show him as a regular guy. And regular guys we know fight dudes in outfits like Death Dealer in a Letterman jacket.
But he has this thing. The red thing, the makeshift one that they have for the movie.
You mean the butler outfit? And then they made the stylized butler outfit as opposed to the cool outfit that Snake Eyes is wearing. The all black, utilitarian outfit. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm saying that at least that is a little better than this.
Put him in the red jacket butler outfit. I couldn't tell if he was about to open up a car door or if he was about to fight somebody.
Wow. Okay. So now Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, everything we've seen. They even have a tiger. They had a tiger in there.
There was a tiger in there?
Yeah, did you see that thing running up the wall? Look right there. Whatever.
That's a tiger or a lion?
Maybe it's a lion. You're right. You're a lion.
Crouching lion.
Crouching lion, hidden dragon. Now is that the girl? Is that the girl in there?
Yeah, that should be Leiko Wu. So we get to see a great scene of him getting kicked up by Leiko Wu. Thank you.
And then we get this is when I was watching
this is the master of Gung Fu. Nobody is supposed to be catching hits off there. No one. I don't care how much you want to make them look.
You gotta get somebody's gotta get some hits.
No.
You gotta have
in the comic, his comic, nobody got hits off Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi was beating guys with like Iron Man type armor. He would flick a pebble in their eye with his big toe.
The hero's journey, clicking up to get to the point where he puts on what you call the butler outfit, and then he says, yes, like Bruce Leroy, I am the master of Kung Fu, and then he does everything.
Oh, that's so wacky. Because you see him as a kid, taking out dudes twice his size and getting beat with sticks and pounding stuff. By the time he's an adult, he should be, they're showing him like a lifelong of training by this father who's probably corrupt as all hell. So this kid probably not got a break. Now you see him as an adult and you're telling me somebody can come over here and get hits off you? This should, this shouldn't be anybody's.
He's been a freaking ballet person all this time. There's some kinks in his gung fu, as you would say.
Fair enough.
That's what I came for. Some razor fists. That's what I'm okay. I'm okay with razor fists. Look at that. They got nutty ass razor fists. Like, how does he? Who cares? He's razor fist. I think they left in one hand so he can eat.
Love the look on his face, right? That's a look right there. He's channeling his best Jackie Chan right there.
Well, they're trying to give him this sort of wide-eyed, like if we were fighting, we don't necessarily need that. But
if it was Bruce Lee, that look wouldn't be there. It would be a look of determination. It would be a look where you can see on his face like he's sorting it out. Not only am I dodging this, okay, but I'm going to sort out a way to use this against this guy because I'm thinking on my feet. Instead, well, what can I say? Now I'm going to say what that woman said when you were in the theaters. Is this a Marvel trailer?
you?
Now, she already knows who he is, so I never got this. I thought that they were meeting, but then when you see the selfie, she's doing the like you do something you don't know. And I didn't get that in this trailer. So this whole point of this scene of seeing someone, you know, like because he's already wide-eyed, that's what she's for. So when you have his acting, at least in the trailer, you don't have her say this in there because I don't get it. I thought that maybe she just met him. She's the bus driver and she just met him. I didn't realize looking forward. Oh yeah, that's the friend earlier. You
Maybe
know?
she's saying, "Who are you really?" Like she thinks he's somebody, and then he's doing all this. He's like, "I didn't. How are you doing all this? Who are you really?" I'm the
Yeah,
son of the Mandarin.
yeah, I didn't really get it.
Who are you?
I thought it was just some person on the bus. Then next thing you know, is she the bus driver? We cut to the speed scene after this, right? Yeah, I think see, and how did she become the driver, right? To become speed, get on and get off, get on and get off. So this
All I
trailer
know
tends
is
to be
he took the what is it? He took the stance and he chambered his fist wrong.
We make a good team.
and China said, no, you did not.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, anybody who thinks we're giving them a hard time, okay, you need to go to any of those go to any of the chat rooms or the pages in Hong Kong. You want to see somebody getting a hard time? Go over there. You'll see somebody getting a hard time.
Yeah.
They're piling on much worse than what we're doing. Much worse.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Well,
ugly.
now,
Yeah.
all that being said, okay, look, I've already been on record. Okay, I've been a lifelong fan of Bruce Lee, very much influenced by his writings and his films, his adages, if you will. And Shang-Chi is a product of that. And I have enjoyed Shang-Chi for many years. And so this doesn't really reflect a lot of the stuff from the comic that I would like to see, or it's even there. So yeah, I'm giving it a hard time. However, that being said, I still want this movie to do very, very, very well. Okay, I want this movie to be thoroughly accepted. I want it to, be a box office bonanza, all of that. And I expect that it's going to do very well. However, the stuff that they're showing me is not stuff that I can go out there and, be a full fist pumping exponent of what I'm being shown. So I'm certain I'll have some more stuff to come down the pike. I'm interested in seeing the Mandarin, who, for all intents and purposes, is Fu Manchu. They traded one look for another look. Like we can't do the mustache and the long beard, but we can do the long flowing hair. We can do the long flowing hair and the collar. I was like, I don't understand people. Some of these, you know what? I won't even get too much into it. It's about just it's about making a compelling villain and not necessarily worrying about any backlash because of the look that you're presenting. Because to be quite honest, a lot of just a lot of characters fall into the look when it comes to a villain or a hero or what have you.
And one of the other things is like when people try to point out, oh, this Asian villain, that's a stereotype. It's, oh, black villain, that's a stereotype. It's just like, all right, this is a hero and a villain. Otherwise, you'll just have white villains, and then you'll be complaining that they're only white villains. Like it's the whole thing is that people like, like people. I know people like to complain and say, "Oh, look, oh, even James Earl Jones, he had to be the bad guy of the galaxy and this, that, and the other." No, he had the best voice. They had David Prowse doing this thing, acting, and they always planned to up the voice with a great voice. That voice happened to be a black man. So the best voice that they could pick was a black guy. It's not a thing of saying, hey, yes, you can go to it and say this, that, and the other, or go to this, the dark side and all the other BS and say, this is how it's written, all that thing. The reason why they got James Earl Jones, because he has a great voice, and
Yes.
a great villain. So it's one of those things where when you're sitting around there and saying, what kind of villain is this and this, that, and the other, and say we can't just have all good guys and the bad guys can't all be well-rounded, that their cat got kicked and then they turn bad at some point. You can't just have that. Some people just are bad. Some people are seduced by evil, and some people, got their cat kicked and they do that. But it's going to be a variety of those sort of things.
Those
So you,
people aren't again. Those people just aren't being realistic. What they would like is that you go to some place like Somalia, and all the Somali pirates are white because they don't want them. Like, oh no, we don't want to see any bad black. We don't want to see any bad black characters. I said, if you want to see a stereotype of a black person being like a drug dealer, sure. If you go to Hong Kong and all the drug dealers in Hong Kong are black, then yes, without a doubt, you can say, hey, 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 there's something going on over here. But in general, Hollywood, most of these guys are hungry for roles, period. And yes, okay, you can pigeonhole people into a role, but you're going to have heroes, villains, and so on and so forth. And part of that progress is being able to recognize the difference at the end of the day. And, I don't know, because you have other stereotypical characters that people seem to be okay with, which I won't get too much into, but they're okay with those because they don't find those offensive.
yeah, that's the thing. You can't, I mean, you can't, if you want to sit around there and point and say and count and do that sort of thing and say, hey, look at this. Why does this guy have to be that? And then at the same time, this is why Marvel did what they did. They spent their time making sure, because they're saying, hey, this is going to a world market, but that world market, we don't want to upset China at all. So we will just remove these Chinese characters as best we can. So we do not get any sort of backlash and or any Asian characters, because they had Korean ones that were changed also. So they're just like, we'll remove all of them. Hey, we'll give you some other ones, but the ones in the comic that you could look and say, hey, this character is offensive. And it's just like, well, Iron Man also has some Russian bad guys, has some American bad guys. One of his was it Stain was kind of in the first movie. Like, he has a variety of bad guys. Like in the first movie, you have his father figure being the bad guy. You have I'm not sure if he was Russian or not, but you had Whiplash, who is his villain. And then you could do an Asian character because they've gone across the board. Nope. White guy, and then the other guy posing as the Mandarin. So it's not like you're killing yourself and you go in the back. You're counting, but everyone wanted to point out how, oh, this and that, Fu Manchu, oh, Mandarin, Fu Manchu, that. It's like, no, you don't have to. Well, we can't do that. And it's like, well, you got to go to another white guy, so you're not stereotypical anymore. So no, wait, and that's what they realized with the Ancient One. They're like, what are we doing here? Marvel, we can't blame ourselves for, because we were patting Marvel, and Marvel's patting themselves in the back, being like, look what we did. We cleaned up these characters. We didn't give you the stereotype. We tricked you, this, that, and the other. Oh yeah, that makes so much sense. Now look at this. We got a Legend of the Ten Rings. So ultimately, as far as trailers go, I'm looking at Snake Eyes, and it's got some stuff that I want to see. So I'm hoping for the best for that. And Shang-Chi, it's a rougher thing. It's got a lot of things that we've seen before, but of course it's Marvel, and they said this from the beginning that they were doing Shang-Chi, and it just took a little while for them to get there. Took a little while for you to get there, but we got here. So hoping for the best for that too. And hopefully it'll have some sort of international power, because if it doesn't, then Marvel will be like, we will stay away from this as far as we have to. Shang-Chi, you will be showing up with the rings, and everyone will pat us on the back and say, see, we used the 10 rings. We did it. We're not doing your movie anymore. It didn't work out.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's one of it's one of the reasons I wanted to be successful, because once it's successful, you have more freedom to do more things. And then if people are critical, you'd be like, no, we did this. Okay, we did this, and we got to have some room to do this, to do other characters, to do different things. And if it works, fine. And if it doesn't work, okay, we can always improve on that. But it can't be that we can't do anything, for fear of how you people are going to react, to this vocal minority, if you will. So I am hoping that it does. I mean, and again, until I mean, I'll go back again with with Bruce Lee, because Bruce Lee's here in the States and he's trying to get stuff done as an actor, and it's a limited amount of roles. Even though some of the stuff he was doing was kind of cutting edge for the time, the character he was playing on Longstreet was actually something that was almost like unheard of, to be quite honest. That type of stuff. Kato was cool, but the character he did on Longstreet, even the character of Longstreet himself was, something that was cutting edge for that period of time, but he couldn't get anything done over here. And it wasn't until he went over, he went to Golden Harvest in Hong Kong, and things blew up from over there. And these people said, "Oh, wait a minute, there's a whole bunch of money that can be made. There's an audience. We can try to, tap into that." And this guy was here before. And this guy was here before, so we know it's a commodity we might be able to work with. Those particular things. So we're doing. It's a shame that it's almost like you're doing the same thing all over again, 40, 50 years later. But that's pretty much where you are. It's got to go, and you got to prove that this can actually sell, and that people are going to be receptive to it. And it's also that the market has changed so much that, like, we're going to hedge our bet, and we're going to try to couch things, and we're going to take great pains, to make sure that we get this right the first time and not offend anybody. I'm like, yeah, just tell the story.
Yeah, that's the thing. And since you brought it up, I'm looking this thing up that you just mentioned, because I know nothing of this character at all. But I was looking at it for 2 seconds, and I thought about...
Bruce has been got frostbite. Lee, I want you to teach me what you did the other night. I already told Miss Bell I can't. I'm willing to empty my cup in order to taste your tea.
Your open-mindedness is cool, but it doesn't change anything. I don't believe in system, Mr. Longstreet, nor in method.
It's just energy that just comes off the screen.
But you had to learn.
Right there. They let him like he's the star.
But I found a core of my ignorance.
Help me find mine. Well, what's going on here?
Kick me in the stomach as hard as you can.
Oh, wait a minute, I don't want to hurt you.
I'm holding an air shield. Come on.
Drive right through it, won't I?
I'll risk it.
Okay.
Come here.
Uh-oh.
Hands in here.
He's the guy. We don't want to see his eyes coming up.
Brace yourself. I want you to feel the difference when I put my body behind the kick. When I count to 3, exhale strongly. I'll be kicking you.
Okay.
Can you stand behind?
Who's there?
Who is that?
It's me, baby.
He's just intoxicating.
Oh.
Ready?
Ready.
1, 2, 3.
What a well put together
That's
scene
fantastic.
and fun at the same time.
Right, he's a friend.
So that's what you're going for. This is the TV show that he was in. A TV show.
And look at the difference. Look at the difference at the end of the day. Just look how he was lit. I'm just saying, look how the lighting on him when he's talking over here. And like the size difference, I think Bruce Lee is like 5'7", 5'8", so he's given like 5, maybe 6 inches to the lead. And at no point does it doesn't ever come across or feel like he's smaller or anything of that nature than the lead. Again, that was some stuff that they were doing at that point, and he still couldn't get anything done over here. So he has to go to Hong Kong, and that's where he finally gets the light that he needs in order to become international star for that.
Yeah, that's the thing of when you see something, and that's what you see someone has sort of that quality that he's like, oh, so he just eats up the screen. And so obviously, to play out that sequence, this is like probably a dream for an editor to put all those pieces together with the dog and the woman and whatnot, and and the payoff for something as simple as a kick. And it's like, I know the aficionados are going, oh, that's not that big of a deal. He didn't kick anybody, but it's like all of that is presence, all the things that really, and that's sort of what Bruce Lee understood of having a presence, and then he also used that in terms of his enemies and in these movies, like figuring out like Chuck Norris and hand where the hand you don't know if this actor has any ability, but in the movie you're just caught in there and you're just like he built this villain up for this big ending. So where someone says, oh no, this guy don't got no skill. It's a movie. He understands what a movie is. It's like, I need to find someone who's the best quality person. It's like, no, this is a movie. We have to deal with your presence, energy, that sort of thing, building this up and, killing Jim Kelly sets up that this guy is a top of the line guy. Even though you don't see him fighting, he's always ruined. So I know we get, Bruce just takes over everything that you put him in. He's the sidekick in the Green Hornet, and he just takes over the whole thing, and you're only talking about him. It's like David Carradine does the show that Bruce Lee's supposed to do, and we're still talking about Bruce, and that's why Quentin Tarantino's so mad. He thinks we should be talking about David Carradine, but we still talk about Bruce when we think of the Kung Fu TV show. So
yeah, we're supposed to be talking about Shang-Chi and Snake Eyes, and we're talking about Bruce.
So
that's the legacy. A lot of these characters right here wouldn't exist. A lot of these guys over here wouldn't even be interested if we didn't have Bruce Lee to lay that foundation for them. So I will never tire of talking about Bruce Lee. Hope the Shang-Chi does very well. Very much looking forward to. I have to admit that Snake Eyes trailer was spot on. I was like, okay, yeah, why would I not want to see this? That's streamlined. They may have some moments in there where he's singing karaoke or something, but they said, no, we'll save that for the movie. We'll save that for the movie. We're not showing you that in the trailer. So, I would like to see a little bit more of that with Shang-Chi.
But that's the thing. In the Snake Eyes movie, if they wound up in the karaoke bar, he looks like he'd probably be kicking people through the walls and getting cool lights going on in there.
Well, you can have some scene where he's like hiding out or something, and they're like, hide out. What are we gonna do? Next thing he jumps on stage, puts a wig on or something, and he's singing some bad karaoke, and the people look at him, they're like, no, that can't be the guy. There's no way, he wouldn't, that's just it. And you can have a little humor spot, something like that if it came down to it. But the whole, we're hanging out, we're hanging out over here. And then, the coolest moments are when you're a kid. When you're a kid, getting beat by sticks and, flipping over guys. And then when you're an adult, you're parking cars.
Yeah. So I think we did our reaction and our comparison, and Marvel, step it up. When we get to the theaters, we don't want it to be beat up by Snake Eyes. We don't Marvel to roll Snake Eyes. Anyway,
many thanks to Mars. Mars decided he was not going to stop us from doing this, because if he was here, we would have never got half of this out.
Oh yeah, it's been 2 hours. So
I can already hear him. No, I don't want to channel him though. that would be cool. But yeah, thanks, man.
Been out.